Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, T. If you like all things true crime, if you like it delivered in a peaceful, tranquil manner, if you like it clear and concise without drama, then I highly recommend you subscribe. And if you like what you hear, please smash the like button. It's a free way you can help. And now, without further ado, let's dig in. Hey guys, just a reminder, please check your notifications. Every now and then YouTube stops sending notifications, so you have to check it from time to time. To save you precious time, I am cutting out certain sections that are redacted so that they're just silent. I'm also cutting out extremely long pauses. I know you're eager to hear the info, and so am I. So I listened to all 2 hours, but I'm cutting it down for you guys. So if you thought I'd gone silent, no, unfortunately, you probably weren't getting notifications about my videos. One person told me they missed me, and I'm like, but I've been here like every day. Today I've got some audio for you. It is from Jenn Soto's interview on February 28th, 2024. But this is additional audio that hasn't been released before. And again, February 28th would have been 2 days after Madeline was reported missing, and it is before her body was located. By this point in the case, the detectives had discovered the hundreds of photos of Stephan Sterns SAing Madeline Soto. Actually, there were both photos and videos, and they were on his cell phone. And I must give credit to Plunder as well as the docket. My understanding is the docket may have obtained this audio and paid for it, and then I purchased it from Plunder. We're gonna go through this together. I'll let you know my thoughts. So here we go.
A phone call stating that he got home. He had gone to the vape shop. But I don't know if they weren't open or not yet. So he left.
Okay.
And then hung out around the house. Waited till I got back for my doctor's appointment.
So he came back home?
Yeah, he did come back home.
Okay.
He grabbed his phone and called me from the house at that point. He had let me know that he accidentally left his phone. He was waiting for the vape store to open, but they never opened, or something like that. And then he went back home just to give it time, and then he went back out later.
Okay. So from 8:30 to 10:15, that's when he's saying that a vape shop was closed and he came back home?
I think so. Something. I mean, I know he was killing time. He does this. He'll just like to aimlessly drive around to kill time. I believe him when he said he was killing time, or at least I did believe him.
What's like usually, how long does it take to go do her drop off and come back?
Like 45 minutes.
Okay. So
45, 50 minutes.
So give or take an hour.
Yeah.
So he should have been back home by like 9:30ish.
Yeah.
Okay. But then there's like 45 minutes to 30 minutes of a gap in time there.
Yeah.
Where could he have gone?
He says he was driving around aimlessly, just killing time.
Okay. So then he comes home, let's just say around 10:15 is what you're saying. What time did you get home from your doctor's appointment?
I'm going to say somewhere between 11 and 11:20.
And then did he leave again?
Yes.
How do you know he was home? Because you got the call.
Because I got the call and I think I saw him when I got home.
Okay. And then what time did he leave again to go to the vape shop?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure what time he left.
And then...
Oh, actually, hold on, let me think.
Do you guys have a Ring at your house? A Ring doorbell? Do you have any video doorbell system? Do you have any cameras in the house?
Just the one that Stefan keeps putting under Angelica's bedroom door. Oh yeah, and the one he used to record all of his essay of my daughter Maddie.
No. I'm gonna say... he left around somewhere between 12:30 and 1 o'clock, because I remember looking at the time going, I don't think he's going to be done in time running his errands to be back by 2:30 when I need to leave to go.
Okay.
said he ran his errands. He stopped at a few comic shops or game stores or something like that. Then he got a flat tire somewhere on 182. He doesn't remember exactly where. I remember him telling me he hurt himself changing the tire.
How did he hurt himself?
Something slipped while he was doing something with the, what's the crank that pops up? That brings
The lift or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
The jack.
Something slipped and his finger got caught between the frame and the jack, I think. So
Okay.
he had to pull out his finger.
Yeah, I don't believe that Stefan injured his thumb changing the tire. I believe he used that flat tire as a way to excuse the, what I think are bite marks on his hand and also scratches on his arms. And I think those are from, sadly, Madeline. Make no mistake, Stefan may sound kind of harmless and whiny and not very energetic, but he is a violent man.
He's got a Band-Aid on his finger right now because of that.
So what time do you leave the house to go?
2:30.
2:30?
Yeah, she gets out at 4. It takes me about 20 minutes to get to school, and then I wait about an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, for the car line and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to be the first in line.
So at what point did you think, something's up?
Around 4:10 when she did not come out of school, and I was the first in line. I was holding up the line. I'm the first in line, there's cars behind me, and they already have their kids.
Right.
So when I noticed she had not come out, I drove away thinking, maybe I missed her. Maybe I forgot to tell her that I was picking her up from school today because I have a new work schedule. Mm-hmm. So
what do you do for work again? I'm sorry.
I work at Walt Disney World at a front desk concierge at Coronado Springs.
Okay.
I just recently, that's the biggest reason I even called Stefan, was to come help me this week with her getting her to school, helping with the dog. That's the whole reason I even called him, was to come help me.
And what car did he come up in from down there?
In his dad's Cadillac.
Alright. So you kind of get some concerns when she's not coming out?
She's not coming out, so I drove out along the same path she would have walked. I didn't see her. Is she here yet? She goes, no. And I said, oh, maybe I missed her. Maybe
Does she sometimes walk home from school?
She does.
Two. And then you pick her up from there?
Yeah.
Okay.
She didn't make it. So I drove back to, I think at this point I had called her best friend to ask, because I went to pick her up from school and I didn't see her.
Right.
And she said, no, she never made it to first or second period.
Okay.
And I was like, can you please check with the other friends to see if she made it to her other periods? Mm-hmm. I think at this point I emailed her teacher.
Right. Snapchat?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. She just has an Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay. So, office, you realize she's not there either. Is this when you go home?
No, I go back to the school I drive the path again to see if I missed her. And then I go back to the school to check their attendance because her friends are telling me she never made it. But when I got to the school was already closed. Mm-hmm. So I drove back. I think at this point I had gotten a response from one of her teachers telling me she never made it to my period, and then he checked the attendance for the rest of the day. She never made it to any of her periods.
Gotcha, okay.
This is when I start to panic and freak out because I know something is wrong. Sorry, I just thought about that image.
It's okay. Take your time. What was Stefan's reaction when you...
I called him and I said, she never made it to school. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, she got dropped off. I was like, you dropped her off? She never made it to school. Mm-hmm. I said, please come to the office right now. He goes, okay, I'm heading there right now.
There's about a minute of silence here from redacted content, so I cut that out.
So there might have been a little bit of miscommunication here, but a Kissimmee Police officer detective is going to come speak to you about everything that we just talked about, okay?
Okay.
So they're going to come talk to you with an Orange County detective. So I don't want to go too much further into it with you because they're going to go a little bit deeper. They know a lot more than I do. Okay. So they'll be able to explain a little bit more to you. Is that fair? In the meantime, do you need to use the bathroom or anything?
I don't know.
It's okay. Take your time. Do you need any more water? Okay.
So this officer gets up, he leaves the room, and there's a lot of silence as Jenn waits alone for these other detectives to show up. I'm going to cut all that noise out because you don't need to hear her breathing and waiting. Unless, of course, she says something while she's sitting there alone, like that guy, I think it was Robert Durst, remember him from the movie The Jinx? He basically confesses while he's in the bathroom, but still mic'd and he doesn't know it, and he's like, there you go, they've got you.
Images, but I feel like I need proof evidence, but like I'm afraid of being traumatized forever, so I'm not sure what to do.
That's okay. And the Kissimmee detective, we'll go over everything with you, okay? How long have you been working at Coronado Springs for?
Less than 2 weeks.
Oh, so you just started there?
Yeah.
Are you just like in training, or how does it work?
Yeah, I'm in training right now.
Okay. What'd you do before that?
I was a substitute teacher for a little bit, but for the most part, for the last few years, I've just been living off disability.
Okay.
I'm assuming that Jenn is saying that she was on disability because of her bipolar and anxiety. I don't know of any other disabilities that she may have. I'm assuming that your mental health has to be pretty bad for you to actually qualify for a disability. I thought it was difficult to get it. I believe you have to be able to prove that you are disabled to the point where you cannot work. There is a lot of dead air in this audio, so I'm just cutting it out. You don't need to hear all that, in my opinion. But let me know in the comments if moving forward you want to keep all those pauses in there.
I'll be right back.
I will say it's got to be agonizing for a parent of a missing child to be stuck alone in an interview room, waiting and waiting and waiting.
Let's say all this stuff did happen, or we know it happened. What if he's telling the truth about dropping her off and driving away and driving around in circles and getting to the vape shop? Is there video evidence of him in front of the vape store? Because I know there's banks around, right in that same plaza. There must, and an Amscot. There must be video of him pulling into that plaza and waiting.
This is the stuff that makes people see red. Jenn saying, okay, so let's assume there's all the SA stuff. We know about that. But what if he dropped her off and somebody else took Maddie? And again, Maddie hasn't been found yet, so perhaps Jenn is clinging to hope that somebody else took her, and at least in that scenario, Maddie's alive and Stefan isn't a killer.
Stefan's staff asking where he could, because I guess he was at the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's just waiting.
Okay.
He's asking where he could wait.
He can wait either in the front it's the west lobby. So it's the one where the big flagpoles are in. It's the main entrance. Or he can wait in the car.
In the west lobby.
So just to clarify, Jenn had been speaking with a detective from Orange County. A detective from Kissimmee is about to enter the room. He's going to explain that because Maddie went missing from Kissimmee, that is why he is now here to speak to her.
Hello, my name is Mark. I work with the Kissimmee Police Department. Okay, great.
Thank you. That's your work phone?
No.
Is that what?
But that's the...
Okay, thank you.
So the reason I am here, or we are here, is because we think when it went missing, you live in our city limits. Okay. So that's the reason we got involved now. Okay, do you understand?
Yeah.
All right, so I understand you probably answered a lot of questions and you've got a lot of stuff going on. I am apologizing now. I may ask you the same things that you've already been asked. That's just because I like to hear it for myself, okay? And I know you've been speaking with her quite a bit, But we want to do what we can as soon as possible. Okay? So that's our main focus right now. All right. So, but before I get started, your first name is Jennifer, right?
Yes.
And your last name is?
Soto.
So, what's your telephone number?
718.
Okay.
9.
And you live, what apartment number is that?
Building.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, and once again, I apologize. So on Monday, you've gone to school.
Okay.
Is that right? Okay. So tell me how that morning went. Actually, let's go the night prior.
Okay.
So
night prior, she had a birthday party. I couldn't be there because I was at work.
where do you work at?
Disney World. I'm front desk at Coronado Springs.
Okay.
She had a birthday party. She had a good time. She spent the entire time with my family. Later that evening around 8:30, my sister dropped her off at my house. And she started getting ready for bed, or doing her nighttime routine, which is take her meds and get in the shower. About 10 minutes after she arrived, Stefan arrived. And he let me know that she was doing what she was supposed to be doing. He arrived. He made sure she was doing what she needed to be doing. I got home around 10:30, and
So what she said there was kind of muffled. She said that Stefan was making sure that Maddie was doing what she was supposed to be doing, her nightly routine, I guess. Note that she says she got home at 10:30. In other interviews, she has said she got home around 11.
saw that she was almost ready for bed. I ate. We talked for a little bit. Asked how the birthday party was to show me her gifts, how everything went. And then she went to bed.
And this is around, you said around 10:30 she went to bed?
Around 11.
11, okay.
I'm not so sure 11 o'clock is right. Jenn said in another interview that she sent Stefan and Maddie to bed upstairs to room number 4 at 11. And then we have a text message or Snapchat to Stefan saying it's time for her to go to bed, and that was sent at 11:39 a.m. This is only 2 days after Maddie was reported missing, so you would think that Jenn would remember this. But then again, she takes those medications, trying to give her the benefit of the doubt.
At this point, I sent them. We have 2 bedrooms. We're a 4-bedroom townhouse, but there's a bedroom and a guest bedroom.
Okay.
I sent them upstairs to the guest bedroom because I had not slept well the night before. I had forgotten my psychiatric meds and I was feeling off. I was not feeling okay. So when I got home from work, I said, guys, I need a good night's sleep. They all wanted to sleep in my bed, all 3 of us together.
Okay. Is that normal?
Yeah, for us to do that, yeah.
Okay.
When he sleeps with me, if he's around, he'll sleep upstairs sometimes in the guest bedroom or with us in our bed. But the 3 of us on my bed is pretty uncomfortable. It's a king. Sleeps like a monkey. She just kicks and punches.
1 or 2, I know.
Yeah. Chill up on one side and wake up on the other. It's just, yeah. So I asked them upstairs that night to give me a good night's sleep, and they said okay, they would. And from what as far as I'm aware, they went upstairs. They went to sleep. I was woken up around, I want to say 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday by Stefan trying to put the leash on the dog to walk him. And I got up to try to help him with it, but Stefan got it and walked him and told me to go back to bed, so I went back to bed.
Okay.
I heard people in the kitchen. I'm not sure exactly who because I do have roommates and they're up at all hours. So I heard somebody in the kitchen as soon as I leave for school. On her nightstand, I know she walked into the kitchen, into her bedroom to get ready and all that because she left her phone on her dresser in her bedroom. And I know she did that while she was getting ready that morning.
Now, what is considered?
I don't see how Jenn can be sure that she's the one who left it on her dresser. She makes it sound like she knows for a fact that Maddie was getting dressed because she went to the downstairs bedroom to grab her clothing and left her cell phone on the dresser there. And of course, we know that Maddie was already deceased at this point.
Bedroom, where at?
In the living room.
Okay.
We've got like a little wall partition, and she's got a bedroom in the living room. It's got a bed, a dresser, a desk, and a TV. She doesn't sleep there though. She just hangs out there during the day. That's her space. She'll hang out there. Yeah, she got ready, supposedly, and they were off. They left to school early. I'm not sure what time they left.
What time does her school start, do you know?
She's got to be at school at the latest by 9:28.
What, do you know what time her school starts?
9:28.
Did she say 9:20 or 9:28? Either way, that's a lot later than when Stefan said he dropped Maddie off. He was really in a hurry that morning. It's like he was chomping at the bit to get Maddie, who he had strapped lifeless in the front passenger seat, with it put back into a recline position so that she would look more like she was sleeping, and he probably thought that would keep her maybe from sliding down. I mean, I hate to say it, but she's dead weight at this point. We know that her head was sort of flopped over to the left and her mouth was described as being ajar. So he's really impatient. He wants to get this drive over with. I think he's afraid to have Maddie in the car like that for too long. Perhaps he's worried Jenn is going to get up out of bed, see Maddie's phone on the nightstand and come running out to the car to give it to her. I also think that Stefan wanted to do the drive to the middle school as soon as possible so that there would be fewer cars there with parents and kids in them.
Okay.
From what I was told, he dropped her off somewhere between 8:30 and 8:45, or somewhere along that line, around that time.
And Stefan told you this?
Actually, that timeline might be from like the cameras, the church cameras you guys have told me about, but we don't know if that was really her, so I'm not sure about the timeline anymore. He said he went, I think he had given me a timeline of, he dropped her off somewhere between 8:20 and 8:45, but he's not sure exactly what time.
Okay.
He said they were making good time that morning. He was like super impressed with how quickly she got up, got ready, and was out the door. I know she wanted to meet up with her friends at school early. And I know.
Did she tell you that?
Yeah.
That's the first time I'm hearing Jenn say that Maddie wanted to go to school early that morning so she could meet up with her friends. You have to wonder, is that really true? Did Maddie really say that to Jenn? Or is that part of Stephan Sterns' narrative that he maybe wanted Jenn to tell the police?
He wanted McDonald's early that morning for breakfast. But Stephan said she was asleep in the car for the majority of the car ride, and he kept trying to talk to her and talk her into getting McDonald's. But she kept saying, no, just drop me off. So this is where she got dropped off, somewhere on the road, close to school. And then I don't know what happened to her. But this is what I was being told happened that morning.
Gotcha. And then you went to pick her up after school, is that right?
Yeah. I left the house at 2:30. School is not let out till 4 o'clock, but it takes me about 20 minutes to drive, 25 minutes. And then I wait that hour outside. I like being the first car in line. I like being the first.
Listen, I'm a little OCD, but I'm not sure I would show up an hour early to wait just so I could be first in line. I mean, I guess if you have your cell phone with you, it doesn't really matter if you're sitting in a car somewhere and if it's going to save you time. Okay.
Exactly. So I like. I waited that hour and something minutes for 4 o'clock to show. 4:04 is when the bell rings. Waited there until like 4:10 and she didn't come out. That only sounds like a few minutes, but in those few minutes, the cars behind me got full of children. I'm the first in line, so there's cars behind me already picking up their children. They're waiting to get out. So I felt pressured and rushed, so I decided to drive away. I'm like, she's not here, something's wrong. Or Maybe I forgot to tell her that I was picking her up. Maybe she just decided to walk. She'll do this sometimes. This is pretty close to the school.
She's saying that sometimes Maddie walks over to the office where her grandmother, Yolanda, works.
So I decided to drive along the path that she would have walked on the road where she would be walking. And I waited there for about 15 minutes and nothing. She didn't appear. At this point, I returned back to the office. She should have been at the office by this point. It's like 4:35. She did not appear. So at this point, I call her best friend and I asked her best friend, with you, I don't think I told her I was coming to pick her up, but she's not walking or she's not at school. And she said, no, she never made it to first or second period. And I said, what do you mean she got dropped off? And she's like, she never made it to first or second period. I said, can you please check with your other friends to see if she made it to her other periods? At this point, I start panicking and I drive back to the school to check her attendance, but the school office had already closed. So
what time was this?
This was around 4:45.
Okay. And the school was closed already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think they closed at like 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the school, I rang the bell, they were closed, nobody was opening the door. So we decided to leave.
Why does she say we decided to leave? Supposedly she's alone in the car and Stefan is back at the townhome, so why we? Was that just a slip of the tongue?
But I had already emailed one of her teachers. I think when I had spoke to her best friend, I had emailed the teacher. The teacher confirmed that she never made it to his period and never made it to any of her other periods that day. He checked her attendance for the whole day. Mm-hmm. When he told me this, I realized something was really wrong. It's truly wrong. Mm-hmm. A panic attack.
And what time is this?
I want to say around 4:45, 4:50.
Okay.
And yeah, I called Stefan. I asked Stefan, like, did you drop her off? He said, yeah, why? I'm like, she never made it to school. He's like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. Just, she's not here. She's not here. And he drove immediately to the office and then waited with me. I was having a panic attack, trying to stay calm, but it was really hard. I think we waited about 3 hours for the police to show up. I think 2 children had gone missing around the same time in a park nearby, so all the cops were answering that call. Eventually a family member went over to the park and spoke to an officer and let him know, hey, there's another missing child, please come take the report. So they followed him and brought him to the office, and then he took down our statements and made the report, and then everything, the process started. They were there for, I'm going to say 1 to 2 hours, and then it was time to go home.
Okay.
So she said they were there at that insurance office for 2 hours. I'm assuming the cop was there with her. And she says, and then it was time to go home.
Then, since the officer took the report and the deputy took the report, have you been looking for, have you been driving around?
I've been staying at home just in case she comes home.
Okay.
My family, I have a huge family. Mm-hmm. They've been driving around. They've been walking the walking path behind the school. They've been handing out, they've handed out like 1,000 flyers already. Mm-hmm. They're the ones who contacted the news.
So here Jenn says that her family is the one who contacted the news. In another interview, she said that she was the one making those phone calls to the media.
Has she gone missing before? She never ran away, even if it's for a couple hours or anything like that? Okay. So when you physically or talked to her, it was the night before? Yes. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And how was she then? What was her demeanor?
Happy. She had the best birthday party. Mm-hmm. She loved her presents, her gifts. She got a lot of money.
Do you remember in Stephan Sterns' interrogation, he said that he was having money problems of late? Could that birthday party be yet another motive? I know it sounds absurd, but Stephan Sterns likes to buy things.
So she was showing me all that.
Okay. So How was her sleeping habits? I know you said she was up and at 'em in the morning. Is she... Because some kids like to sleep all day, some kids get up and then they're ready to go. What's she like?
So when she sleeps with me, and I have to wake her up, she's difficult. She'll snooze 3-4 times. We'll hit the alarm a few times, let it ring, and then go back to sleep. And then let it ring, and then go back to sleep. When it's her waking up herself and she sets her own alarms on her phone, which is what I think she did that morning, she usually gets up pretty quickly. She doesn't snooze. She'll get up, she'll immediately go do what she needs to do. And then she'll either lay back down in bed and snooze until it's time to go, or just be ready to go.
Do you take her to school?
Yeah.
Okay. When you take her to school, where do you drop her off at?
At the school.
Okay, so you pull in through the line and drop her off at the front and stuff like that. When she goes to school, when you take her to school, is she talkative in the car, or what does she do on the way there?
Not really. She'll be on her phone. We'll listen to the radio station, or listen to some Taylor Swift. Yeah, she's pretty quiet. She'll be snoozing, sleeping.
Yeah. Okay. So, going back to Stefan, was Stefan at the birthday party?
No.
No, okay.
He was traveling from Northport, Florida to Kissimmee.
Where's Northport?
Sarasota County.
Oh, okay.
Notice how Jenn doesn't admit that Stefan wasn't invited to the birthday party. Yolanda doesn't like Stefan, and she wouldn't allow him to stay at her house. I'd love to talk to her and ask her why exactly she didn't like Stefan. How much did Yolanda know about the relationship between him and Maddie?
He got here when?
So if she got dropped off around 9:30, 8:30, he probably showed up around 8:45.
Did you know he was coming?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys hung out? What did you guys do that night? Okay.
Yeah. What did we do that night? I only spent about 30 minutes with them because I had to go to sleep. I had to take my meds and go to sleep. And I know that they need to go to sleep because they have to go to school, or she had to go to school. I usually like making bedtime around 10:30. So when I got there and she was still up, I understood why she was still up. She was waiting for me and wanted to show me all her presents and stuff. But by 11, I was just like, you guys need to go to bed. It's late. Like, it's super late. Sorry. I forgot what I was going to say.
Is it normal if he comes to see you that he... Or...
Yes, it's normal for him to sleep upstairs in the guest bedroom.
Okay. What makes it different from when he sleeps with or the three of you or upstairs by himself?
It all depends on the circumstance of what's going on. For the most part, if it's a school week and school, I send them upstairs because I know that my alarms are going to go off multiple times super early in the morning and I don't want to wake him up. It's difficult to wake up, so I have to constantly be talking to her, shaking her. So for the most part, it's downstairs and he goes upstairs.
What made it different that night? For
the fact that I forgot my bipolar meds Saturday night, and I was not acting normal Sunday, and I realized Sunday night, oh my god, I forgot my meds Saturday night, which is why I've been so freaking weird today. I'm like, I need to take these meds and I need to sleep. I need like a good night's sleep. I can't wake up early in the morning. I can't take her. I can't do any of that. Like, I need you to do it. That's primarily the reason I told him to come from Northport, Florida to help me was this week because of training at work. I needed help. I needed support. So I invited him up to help me with that.
Did you work on Monday?
No, I was off.
You were off, okay.
A lot of people have questioned why Jenn was so desperate to get such a good night's rest when she didn't even have to work on Monday, and Stefan was there and he was going to take Maddie to school, presumably. So was it really necessary for her to send Maddie up with Stefan to room number 4?
So Monday during the day, what'd you do throughout the day?
I had a blood work appointment at 10:15, 10:30. That took a little while to be seen.
Did Stefan go with you?
No. He was not home he had not gotten home by the time I left.
Do you remember what time you left?
Around, I think, 9:30.
And where was your blood work at?
About 15 minutes away.
Which way? Towards Kissimmee or Orlando?
Towards Orlando. It's on the border of Kissimmee and Orlando. It's in the Loop. It's across the street from the Loop. There's a doctor plaza there. There's a LabCorp there. So I went to LabCorp and I got blood work done.
Okay.
Waited there for a while. Then I must have gotten home sometime between Wednesday 11:15, 11:30, something like that, or from 11 to 11:30 sometime. And he was there. But before that, while I was at my blood work appointment, he actually called me. He said, "Hey, I'm sorry, I left my phone at home. I was running some errands. This morning, we made super great time. She got ready super fast. We left super early. I offered her McDonald's multiple times, but she refused. So she asked to be dropped off early. And so he did."
Did she ever go to school and did she ever ask to go? Because sometimes kids don't want to go to school, period. Is it normal for her to ask to be dropped off early?
Yes, sometimes.
Okay.
She's asked me multiple times to ask her to drop her off early. She wants to meet up with her friends, or she wants to get there earlier and earlier just to meet up with her friends.
But you still drop her off at the school?
Yes.
Okay. So she hangs out with her friends within the school?
Yes.
Okay.
The only reason I think he did not take her to school directly that morning is because she has voiced multiple times, "Hey, is Stefan taking me to school? Can you please drop me off far away?" She's embarrassed by his car. It's a Cadillac, it's not that old, but to her it's an old hoopty. She can't be seen in it. She doesn't want to be seen in it. So she's made that comment before, "Please drop me off far away. I want to walk."
That's interesting because she said in other interviews that Stefan really never drove Maddie to school. This was not a regular thing. So would she really have told her mother, "Hey, can you have Stefan drop me off away from the school?" Or is this Jenn selling once again Stefan's narrative? Or am I wrong about this? And is this both Jenn and Stefan's narrative?
But yeah. And you look at the car, to me it looks like a normal. It looks old, but...
Gotcha. Okay, so what?
So
Would he come here? Would you go there?
he would come here. He's only been gone for the last 2 months, so he's come here those few times. Bye.
After this, the audio goes silent for more than a minute, so whatever Jenn was saying there was redacted from the audio.
And then he had told me he was like, frustrated, I guess. I'm gonna use the word frustrated. But I know he's had relations with people. But I'm not bothered by that. That's whatever he needs to do. But yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously there's a little bit of, actually I don't want to get to that yet. Who drives your car?
Primarily me. On Monday night, he drove my car.
Monday night when?
After we went to bed, after the cops had been called and all that, he took my car and decided to drive around to see if he could keep searching for her, looking for her, seeing if there was anything that...
What time was that, do you remember?
I don't know. I know he took my car and left because when I got into the front seat of the car had been adjusted. And he's like, "Remember I said I was going to go out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's right. You did tell me that you were going to go out. I just don't remember." He never told me what time or anything. But he did mention earlier Monday, "I'm going to drive around. I can't just sit at home. I need to be looking for her." And I'm just like, okay, that's fine.
I think in the redacted part, she might have been talking about Stefan's frustrations with her, maybe, because of her lack of interest in intimacy, shall we say. Now note that Stefan took Jenn's car, and where he went was to the dump site where Maddie's body was. And his father later said, I believe it was his father, something about him taking a weapon there because he was planning to unalive himself. We have to remember that his vehicle, the Lincoln, has that spare donut tire on it, so he might not have wanted to drive it because of that. It's equally possible that he did not want to be spotted by the police driving away and going to the dump site and getting caught. Too bad the police did not have surveillance on the townhome that night, because they would have found Maddie a lot sooner.
If that was in the evening or like sometime before midnight, after midnight?
Oh, before midnight.
Okay.
I go to bed. Well, that was Monday night. I'm not sure what time I went to bed Monday night. I want to say before midnight because I had to take my meds and I had to go to sleep. They only work if I take them the right way, my meds. So I have to follow a strict routine with them. I'm going to say it was before midnight.
Okay, and then when you got into your car, when you didn't notice that the car was, or the seat was back?
Yesterday, whenever we got kicked out of the house, whenever they told us we couldn't go back in, forensics was coming. Yeah, I got into the car and I was like, oh, the seat's adjusted. I'm like, did you get in it? He's like, yeah, I took a drive last night, remember? And I'm like, oh yeah, you did. You told me that.
So Monday night, did you ever come here to the sheriff's office Monday night?
No.
No? Okay. Did Stefan come here?
I don't think so.
That you know of? Okay. Do you know? Were they talked to here or?
No, they were talked at place of business originally where they did the report. And then we have been in contact with her at her apartment. But that was after the initial report was made.
That was last night?
Yes. Yesterday, the other detective, Frank, responded around 10 o'clock in the morning and started looking at the school. I'm not sure when the initial contact was made with her. I want to say it was like around 11 or 12, right? At your apartment. And we've been in contact with her since then.
Okay.
And let's remember, Jenn is being interviewed now on Wednesday, February 28th. So Stefan took her car on Monday night to go to where Maddie's body was. And then on Tuesday night, he drove all the way to Northport, 2.5 hours away, to his parents' house, possibly the storage unit, and then he drove 2.5 hours back, and Mr. Hoopty car did it all in Jenn Soto's white Nissan Sentra.
Now, I understand that a detective recently showed you some pictures of not so pleasant things. Okay. What was discussed at that point?
They asked me if I recognized.
What she's saying there is they ask her if she recognized the, I'm going to call it pineapple, I'm talking about Stephan Sterns' private parts. She goes on to clarify that she didn't necessarily recognize the pineapple, but she noticed certain telltale signs around it, meaning things in the room.
What, clothing or?
Clothing and like a pillowcase.
Okay.
That was like underneath in the picture, so I recognized that.
Did he explain to you where those images came from?
He said Stefan's phone. Is that correct?
Did he explain to you the content of those pictures?
I'm not sure. Just explain that they were in his phone, that there's evidence that they've been active or doing things.
What's Stefan's relationship with? What's their relationship like?
I was gonna say really good. Super great. He's always been super sweet and kind to her. Very accepting, warming, understanding of her because She's got ADHD, so she's kind of a little, I'll say abnormal. In the sense, like, she doesn't act like every other kid.
Visions of Katie and Chris Proudfoot there saying negative things about the child. Jenn said Maddie was abnormal.
But you have to have extra patience and understanding for her. And he does that really well.
And she all right, from what I understand.
She just turned.
When she's around Stefan, does she act any different?
No, she's happy. She's like, hey, how are you? But she doesn't act any differently or weirder or anything.
There's no really easy way to ask this, but do you think it's possible that Stefan and her are having a relationship?
Before those images, I would have said absolutely not. But if you're telling me that on the other side of that
pineapple,
in her mouth, then there's nothing else I can believe that has to be true. But before that evidence, I would have said no.
Has Stefan always been, like, when you guys communicate and talk, or have you ever caught him in any kind of lies or not being truthful or anything like that?
No.
So he's been honest about everything, as far as you know?
As far as I know, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but that is Jenn lying right there. She has said in subsequent interviews that Stefan lied. He lied to his parents all the time, and then she discovered that he was lying to her as well. She's clearly still in protective mode here, protecting Stefan and also prioritizing Stefan over Maddie once again.
I've never had to question. If I've had questions, I've had answers. So I never suspected anything.
How long have you lived in Kissimmee?
I lived in that house on and off since 11 months old.
Okay, so where else did you live other than that?
For a little while, I moved into my mother's house during COVID.
Where does she live?
In Hunters Creek.
Okay.
And then during COVID, it was another situation where he got promised the job down there and it didn't happen. We moved down there, got an apartment, and lived there for somewhere between 6 to 8 months. And then
Moved down where?
I'm sorry, to Port Charlotte, Florida,
Okay.
which is next to Sarasota County. It's in Charlotte County. We moved down to Port Charlotte during the whole COVID, where everyone was quarantining time. We moved during that time and stayed in Port Charlotte.
What about Stefan? How long has Stefan lived in Kissimmee?
I'll say on and off for 7 years or 6 years. The first he was still staying at his parents.
Where does his parents live?
At the time, they lived in Winter Garden, Florida, but now they live in Northport, Florida. That's who he lives with down there.
Oh, okay. What about family? Any other family around here?
Who, him? No. I think he's got distant relatives, but nobody he's ever talked to like that.
What about friends, or you guys have friends? Are all your friends in Kissimmee?
All of his friends are in Northport, Florida. He made a big group of gaming friends down there. He's got some coworkers he talks to here, but no one I've seen him hang out with lately.
What about you? Are your friends in Kissimmee, or?
At this point, somebody interrupts the interview. Nothing is said for several minutes.
How do we communicate?
Like texts?
No, we speak to each other.
Okay, so you call each other on the phone?
If she's in the same room?
No, if you guys aren't in the same room.
Oh.
Like if she's out with her friends, or you're at work, or...
Call her text, but she's really bad about responding. She'll put her phone on silent or do not disturb.
How do you and Stefan normally communicate?
Via Google Meet, which is the video, not FaceTime, but the video chat for Android.
Okay.
We'll video chat pretty much all day.
Okay. Does Stefan ever talk on the phone?
Yeah.
How do they do that? How do they normally communicate?
Video chat as well.
Okay.
But when she's on video chat, she's video chatting next to me, and we're all part of the conversation. They never go off on by themselves and have their own conversation. It's always all of us together.
Okay. Do they talk quite a bit? Do you know?
See, well, I'll say yes, because we're all in the conversation together, and we stay on the phone for hours together. So yeah. But that's all of us together.
Got it. Normal times of the day, I know kids sometimes are up late at night talking on the phone or anything like that. If Stefan's in Northport at home or with his parents, and you guys are here, and you guys are all talking, is it when normal people talk, or in the early in the morning, or?
After school and before bedtime.
Okay. Do you know if has conversations with Stefan outside of your presence? Like, do they talk on the phone?
It's possible, but if I'm at home, I would know.
Gotcha.
Okay. She's always in my bedroom. She's hanging out in my bedroom or in her space, but I can hear her in her bedroom, or I can hear her from my bedroom, so I would know.
Okay. Now, this is kind of going to get into a sensitive subject, which I apologize. But there were images on his phone of them two being involved in a relationship. Now, has she ever disclosed to you or anything like that? If anything like that has happened between them? No. Okay. Has he ever mentioned to you, like, is he into any kind of, like, does he watch or any that you know of?
I'm sure he does, but
Around you, or okay. I know some thing, or does he do that to your phone or anything like that? Okay.
we pretty much respect each other's privacy.
What about his phone? You ever go through her phone at all?
Sometimes, but not as much as I should probably.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Because you trust her.
Yeah, I've gone through her phone before though.
Okay. Anything abnormal that you'd see in her phone?
But I thought no.
Not that you thought, or
No, I'm saying like
never.
I've never seen anything.
Gotcha.
No, but I'm saying
Okay.
if you guys saw something, then I missed it.
No, I'm not saying that we have.
Okay.
No. Stefan's phone is a different story.
Just going back to the comment you made about how you know that he was sexually active with someone else.
And I found out about it later. But there was a girl he had been hanging out with, a coworker. This is about over a year ago. He started hanging out with a coworker, and I had suspicions that they were sleeping together, but I would ask, and he wouldn't confirm or say anything like that. But he didn't confirm until a few months later that, yeah, they in fact did sleep together, and I was just like, well, okay, good to know. I was just checking to see if I had slept with him after that. And, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to have sex after he's had somebody else. So, when he told me that, I was just checking with myself to see if that had happened, and it hadn't, so.
And this got brought conversation of you asking him if he was active with someone, something on his phone, or was he texting off to
No,
the side?
it was a conversation that we had, and he just told me.
Was it a cordial conversation, or were you guys angry, or?
No.
Oh.
Sorry, when was the last time you guys were sexually active?
December of not December 2023, but December 2022.
Okay.
At that point, I had decided that I wasn't interested. My meds just really affected me, and I was just like, you know what? I think it took a while to figure out that it was my meds. I was trying to figure out if it was like my hormones, my body, like what was going on, but it was just my meds. We narrowed it down to that. So when I realized that what was happening, I just had to accept it, because it's either come off my meds or come off my meds, fix my job, stay on my meds. I'm gonna stay on my meds, like stay stable. So yeah.
Where have you guys been staying? I know you said they kicked you out of your apartment or whatever, but while they were at your apartment, where were you guys staying?
At a hotel right off the Disney property, Home Suites by Marriott or something like that, on Western Way, off of 429.
Okay. So you and Stefan have been together pretty much the whole time after, have you guys always been together, or has there been times that you stay at the hotel or you'd work in and him be out by himself?
When I woke up this morning, he wasn't there, and he was gone for about an hour. But he came back and he said he had gotten some Wawa, and then he got lost because he didn't have his GPS or phone on him or anything like that. So took him a while to get back to the hotel, but he found us eventually. I wondered that. I was just like, he left the hotel and didn't have a phone on him, didn't tell me where he went. I'm like, how is he going to find his way back? I don't think he even paid attention to how I got here, because I'm the one who drove. I'm the one who knew where the hotel was. I was like, I don't know if he's going to figure it out, but he did. But he was gone for about, I want to say, an hour.
She said, but he was gone for about an hour. No. He was gone for 5 hours plus. So either Jenn is lying or she's assuming it was only an hour, but she sounds so sure of herself.
Okay. I think everything else right now.
I feel like, can I see that image of, because I feel like, unless, I'm not going to believe it until I have confirmation, and I'm always going to have doubts unless I actually see it myself. And I don't want to leave here today and never have an opportunity again. Like, I want to.
No, I don't mind showing you, but they are difficult things to see. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the one image.
I'm not sure which picture they showed you earlier. I don't think we might have the same pictures. We do have different pictures, but I don't know if I have the same one that the other detective showed you.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Do you still want to look?
Yes. Am I gonna clearly see her face?
Yes.
Prior to this, have you known her to be with any boyfriends or friends?
Jenn whispered no.
That one right there is a no.
You saw through the picture?
I could, but you can turn it around if you want.
Do you recognize anybody else that may be in that photo? I know basically it's only genitalia, but is there anything else in that photo that stands out to you?
Jenn replied no, and I do wonder, is she protecting Stefan still? Because if his pineapple was in that picture, we know that there were distinctive characteristics on it, one black freckle, for example.
Anything in the background?
Is this a picture of a picture? Is this a picture of a phone? Like, is this background
Yes.
now? Okay.
Yes.
Let me see. Nothing I recognize in the background, no. There's not much space. Okay.
28 and 38.
Who keeps calling?
Everyone. The news.
Family and everything?
My family, they're all trying to figure out if I was the news, because last they heard I was going to the news conference and that I was going to watch that, but that's not what happened. So they all want an update and see where I'm at and what I'm doing and what's the latest.
Yeah,
But
understandable.
Yeah, you can let them know that the reason it's taken so long is now this is now a Kissimmee Police investigation,
yeah.
since that's where you guys live.
Yeah.
Okay. I know this may not make sense to you, but amongst us it does. Sometimes when people call the police and then they want to file a report, there's jurisdictional lines that we gotta follow. Okay.
Yeah.
So being that she was dropped off at school, that would make Orange counties. Okay. But now we can't definitively say she was dropped off at school. We believe she was. We got to go on. We definitely know 100% that she was at home at your house on her way to school. So that's why we're involved. Okay, does that make sense to you now? Okay. I can't think of anything else right now for her. Anything else that we may miss that?
I know that you said that Stefan was out, right, looking for her that night. Do you remember what time he came back? Like, when you woke up, was Stefan home?
Yes.
What time did you wake up?
Can I look at my phone and tell you?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly? Because it was phone calls that would be. Let me see if I can find it. We're talking about Tuesday morning, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And while you're looking for the time, was there any specific reason why he wanted to use your car instead of his?
Because he had just gotten a flat tire, so he's got a donut on one of the back wheels. And I told him not to drive the car because you can't drive very much on a donut, right? Like,
Okay.
Not fast and not far.
Did he explain any, like, how the flat tire happened on the car, or
He was just
where
driving
he
down.
was when it?
And he was just driving down 192, and then he felt like a wobble or something weird. And then he pulled over and saw that the tire had like just shredded, just fell apart. So he pulled over into a plaza and changed the tire.
Do you know where about?
He says somewhere on 182, but he doesn't know exactly where because everything looks the same to him.
In Kissimmee?
Yeah. He doesn't know what business he may have stopped at or where. But I will tell you, Stefan also has ADHD. He's also very forgetful. It's like they're both the same. They both have ADHD. They're both very forgetful. They both have time blindness, which means they lose track of time. If they don't have a watch on them at all times, they've lost track of time. They don't know how long they've been taking. An hour or more long shower, not realizing she's been in the shower for very long. They're both the same in that respect. He's also on medication, which is making him super forgetful. It's an anxiety.
Is this new for him, or has he always had this?
Stefan? He's always had ADHD. I want to say that's probably the ADHD part that just, it's not, it's hard to manage and control, right? It's just how you are. And it's just a lot of those little things that just, it was just too much for me. And I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, it's okay.
Yeah, so right now,
But he doesn't remember where he got this flat tire.
And he changed it himself, he said?
yes.
Okay.
And he said he hurt himself while doing it. I think his thumb got caught in between the thing that cranks the car up and like the frame. Something twisted and fell on his finger, and he said he yanked out his finger really fast and hurt himself.
So he used your car because of the flat tire. Okay. And then, did you find the time?
Oh, sorry.
Couple thoughts. I just want to interject that I think that his hand was not injured changing the tire. I think it was Maddie who injured his hand and his arms. And I also am wondering now, do you think that the long showers were when maybe Stefan was in with Maddie? Could she have been taking showers in the upstairs bathroom?
I woke up around 8 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday.
And he was home?
Yes.
Was he awake, sleeping, or what was he doing?
Asleep.
Okay. And then, do you know if at any point during any of this, like if he's showered, he's changed?
No.
Not that you have physically seen?
No, I haven't seen him shower or change.
Okay.
Do you recognize that phone number?
No. Oh, sorry, we're almost done.
No worries.
I think he showered. I'm not sure if he showered. I don't think he showered Sunday night. I think it must have been Monday morning sometime.
Monday morning?
Yeah, because there is a towel in my bathroom that's not ours. Not that's hanging there. And I think I recall him telling me he was going to take a shower, but I just don't remember when exactly.
Okay. Does anybody else use this bathroom?
Just.
So was that when Stefan had time on Monday to take a shower and wash off all the evidence, if there was any evidence, on his body? Remember, Jenn was away getting her blood work done.
You said you had 2 roommates.
Yeah.
What are the names?
Angelica. Do you want the last name as well?
Please.
Okay. Last name Negro. Nigro.
Do you happen to know her phone number?
Yeah. She only speaks Spanish though, so if somebody in Spanish is going to have to call her.
Sure, we can find somebody who speaks Spanish.
I speak Espanol.
And who's the other one?
Natalie Rosiero.
long have you guys been roommates with each other?
With Angelica, almost 3 years. With Natalie, almost 2.
So I'm not sure if you guys went to the house at all.
You were there, but not inside.
Okay, so these bedrooms are numbered. So do you know which room is Angelica's?
Angelica's room is number 3.
Number 3.
And Natalie's room is number 2.
Okay. Like if you actually physically are there, each door has a number.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And do you guys rent to a separate landlord? Like, does someone own that specific unit? Okay. Then he rents out rooms? It looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you meet them? Who are they in relation to you?
Natalie Rosero, I've known her since my sister was in middle school. They're middle school best friends. So we've known her, I'd say more than half her life now, 20 plus years. Angelica, I met her on Facebook Marketplace almost 3 years ago when she rented.
Looking for a place.
Yeah, looking for a place, yeah.
How old is Angelica?
Thirty-one, 32.
Okay, so they're both a little older.
Yeah, and Natalie's.
Whoa, 31 is not old,
36.
okay?
Sorry.
Natalie is 33, I think.
Okay.
Since you mentioned Facebook Marketplace, social media?
She's got a Instagram.
Okay. Do you happen to know her Instagram name?
Yeah.
Or if you can pull up her page, that'd be great. Do you mind if I take a picture of it?
Take that.
What about Stefan? Does he have social media?
So he's got Facebook, he's got an Instagram, and he's got a Reddit. Possibly Discord as well, which is like a chat app.
Do you have his Instagram that you can show me?
Yeah.
And what about his Facebook?
Actually, can you guys update me on what's happening with Stefan at this point?
So we're, like he said, we're going to get all the same information that Orange County got from you. So that right now we're kind of starting at the bottom and working our way up.
We're going to go talk to him now.
Yeah.
Oh, after me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So just so we know a little bit more about it, I know you mentioned something about gaming, or is that like one of his things to do, gaming? What is he into?
He's into...
Like, what does he do on a daily basis? Obviously, he lives in North Florida. What's he into?
So, one thing. Another thing Stefan's got, mental health-wise, is insomnia. He doesn't sleep well. And he's got also sleep apnea. So when he sleeps, he stops breathing and doesn't get good rest. His brain is always telling him to wake up and breathe. So he's always constantly being woken up. He doesn't get good sleep. Because of this, he spends the majority of his day sleeping. Just trying to get some rest, but it's a stupid cycle with sleep apnea. He'll spend the majority of his day sleeping. When he does wake up, he'll play a game called World of Warcraft, which is a video game. Or he'll meet up with his friends and play tabletop gamings, like they battle each other with little toys.
Cards or
Not toys, they're little miniature figures.
What a freaking putz. Deadbeat parasite on his parents and on Jenn. Keep in mind he's 37 years old. Professional lazy arse with a doctorate in child P.
Called Warhammer 40K. It's just a tabletop tournament game. Like you're a weird race, you're a weird race of creature, and we're going to war with each other. Okay. So they're just trying to
battle each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much what he's into. Also, he collects Tamagotchis and Digimons. I don't know if you guys remember Tamagotchis from back in the day, the little creatures we used to take care of. Yeah. He has a bunch of those. I want to say that's right now. Those are his current hobbies.
And since you've known him for his triggers, like, are there certain things that he gets upset about easily if you do or say, or, I mean...
I know I can be a nag sometimes.
Who in the heck wouldn't be a nag with a dude like that?
And if I keep nagging, he'll get a little irritated. But I can't say I know what I don't think he's got triggers.
Have you ever experienced him outlash, like to the extreme on anybody? You, any of his family? Or does he ever you or just at all?
Oh no, never. I'll say he does have like a little bit of a temper, but it's not anything I've ever been afraid of or been like, oh my god, he's gonna hit me. Oh my god, he's never like that.
Maybe Jen forgot about when he was a younger man and he pulled a very sharp object on another man and he jabbed him in the chest, barely missing his heart.
Have you guys any disagreements lately, recently?
No. Okay.
Alright. I think we're gonna go talk to Stefan a little bit to see if he can maybe give a little bit more insight of what happened that day after you dropped her off.
Is he being placed under arrest because of those pictures?
Yeah, we haven't made that determination yet, but
Press charges? Since she's a juvenile?
I have no fucking idea. I didn't think it was in my power. I thought you guys just automatically do it.
Did you hear the officer ask Jen if she was going to press charges? And you can tell she's conflicted. She doesn't want to do it. She says, I thought that was something that was not in my control. I thought you guys would do that. She doesn't react the way you think a mother who just learned that her child has been SA'd would react. It's like she has a million excuses for why he does the things he does, why he can't work, why he sleeps all day and doesn't work.
What do you think should happen for these pictures?
It's crazy, like I saw the pictures, but I'm still in denial because like there's a there, but is he visual? Does he show up in any of the pictures?
Jen said there's a pineapple there, but does Stefan show his face in any of the pictures?
Is there? I mean, I don't know who.
I haven't seen all of the pictures, so I can't answer that.
Because I can't.
Whether it's his or not, are you comfortable with him having content of someone else's on his phone?
That makes sense.
Alright, he never talked about her being sexually with anybody.
I never even. Me assuming she had never been active, I hadn't brought it up.
Has she ever had boyfriends in the past, or?
No, she's not allowed to date.
Okay. How does that make her feel? I know some teenagers want to have a boyfriend.
Yeah, I think she was okay with it. She never complained and said, "You want to date this person, whatever." For a little while, she's like, "Someone, can they be my girlfriend or can they be my boyfriend?" And I'm just, I don't know if he's a boy or girl. And I said, "I think you're a little too young for that. Let's just wait till you're older. Wait till you're older." And she was like, "Okay with that." Yeah, I know she recently had a crush on a boy, but
has she ever had boys at the house?
no.
Have you ever had anybody at your house, any male friends at your house?
Not in years.
What about your roommates?
My roommate has a son who's 11 or 12. But he's darker skin complexion, but I don't think that would be his.
Do your roommates have boyfriends?
Not that I know of, I don't think they do.
Would there be any reason with if they have boyfriends with any other male?
With any other male? No.
So what do you think should happen to Stefan?
I'm afraid to say press charges, but what else? There's a side of me that wants to say he's innocent, that this isn't gonna happen, but who else's penis could that be? She's not left alone with anyone else.
And why would they be on his phone?
Yeah. I don't know what to do.
Okay, we can revisit that. Because after we're done talking to him, I'll probably come back and talk to you for a little bit, just give you an update and stuff like that, okay?
Can I make one decision now and change my mind later? if I decide not to press charges now? Could I change my mind and press charges later?
It's a lot to digest. Okay, so I don't want to make you answer that right now, you know. But when we come back, we'll talk more about it. Okay, when I come back.
Let's take some time to process everything.
Because you're going through a lot right now. But right now, I mean, in my eyes, it sounds bad, but almost secondary, because we want to worry about this afterwards. She's our main focus.
That's where I'm at. I know that the sexual acts happened, but I'm not convinced that he didn't take her to school. I'm not convinced that he's the reason she's gone. Because if this had been going on for so long, what's the motive? Why Monday? Why that day? Why the day after her birthday when we were supposed to spend the entire week together and have such a great time? Like, we had plans. Like, we knew we were just going to be together that week and we were going to have a good time. So I just can't think, like, why?
When you say what's the motive, what are you assuming?
That she was taken. Not that anyone that I know has done something to her, because I feel like nobody I know would do something to her, would hurt her, would murder her, anything like that. I feel like, shoot. I just wonder if we're, like, I know the sexual acts happen, but I wonder if that's just completely separate to her actually going missing. And
clearly on this Wednesday, Jenn is considering that maybe Maddie isn't alive, but she's looking for everybody and anybody other than Stefan to be the perpetrator. She doesn't sound outraged by what she saw in those photos. The police are incredibly patient. They say, yes, this is a lot to digest. We will give you time. And right now we should be focusing on finding Maddie. And she's like, yes, let's focus on that. And this is a lot to digest. So I'm going to end it there. This is pretty much the end of the interview. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, smash that like button on your way out, and I'll see you next time on Bed Crime Stories.